Muslims and the moderate Muslim, as you say, this statement fights that completely. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, certainly, of course. Yeah, that needs further clarification, absolutely, because
Okay.
I have heard him say and read that he narrows it down to 10-15%. So that was a politician's way, an inarticulate way of saying it, but I would agree with you, yes.
One final question.
Yes. I have two comments, and the first one is to Mr. Trento. Mr. Trento, there's a certain arrogance about you that is extremely distasteful. Very, very distasteful. All right?
Yeah, my wife tells me all the time not to
it
do
goes
that.
beyond that. It goes beyond that. And secondly, my feeling is that you are prepared to perpetuate that video as often as you can because you have got an agenda. To you, the gentleman in blue, I did not get your name. I want to say this. You're defending yourself and saying that you're not an Islamic scholar. So, the very first time you opened your mouth, everybody here knows you could never be an Islamic scholar. All right? The fact that you have been to Jordan and to Saudi Arabia and to Iraq, you were there at the bidding of the U.S. military and the U.S. government. So whatever you learned about the Iraqi people and Islam, it has been totally one-sided. And please, do not keep saying that you are not an Islamic scholar because at no cost could you be mistaken for an Islamic scholar.
Okay. We're going to give everybody a final minute. We're coming to the close of the program, and I'm going to give each person 1 minute to make a final closing statement, and we'll start down at the end with Mohammed Al-Darsani.
Make it the last comments that was already. Okay. First, I want to thank everybody that came tonight to attend this educational session. I'm glad you came. I'm glad this exchange happened. I hope it happens again and again and again. And I want every one of my Muslim brothers and sisters to be involved in this. Follow this organization wherever they go, all over the United States. Have meetings like this. Expose obsession. Expose the upcoming movie, Third Jihad. This is our jihad. Okay? You hear me, Tom? We are on a jihad mission here. Intellectual jihad, educational jihad. And we have to put where our money, where our mouth or mouths are. Now, I brought with me, at our own expense, by the way, every one of this will cost me $10. Okay? Now, I want you to buy this. You don't want to buy it now? Don't worry. It's coming to your town. Inshallah, your seller will have it for free. I want to give Tom $2 so he can send one to Pike and one for Dave. Okay, now this is Legacy of Peace, the best multimedia presentation ever produced to introduce Islam in the West. Talk to us about it. We're going to be having it in every library, in every school, in every university, and every mosque, and every Muslim household. If you can buy it from us, do. If you can't, that's okay. And for those people who want a copy of Obsession, because we couldn't show it tonight for the technical difficulties, Tom Trento bought plenty of that, and you can have it. It's available in the back, free. And if you don't, we'll make it available for you, and it is online.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, and may God bless you all.
Tom Trento.
Yeah, I think I'm.
Well, they get to go last. That was our agreement. Okay, I just want to say also thank you for everybody who came, and if you know somebody who didn't come, I hope that you can go back with something tonight that you either learned or that you want to talk to them about and keep this conversation going. I do want to make a quick comment about what this whole, he has a great website, I'll promote it for him, it's mappingsharia.org or .us. But I would ask that he include people like Walid Shwebat and some sort of publication who goes around, he's an admitted terrorist, and I hope that Tom will agree with me that he needs to be brought in on charges. Anyone who bombs with the intent to kill needs to be brought in. And people who make these arrogant and racist and bigotry
statements like Bridget Gabriel and Daniel Pipes, they also need to be brought in. There's radicalism in the film obsession, and I hope that the Florida Security Council will separate itself from it so that we can then step in as the moderate Muslims and take the void of that film. And we'll show up everywhere he is and make sure that the real message is actually sent out. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thanks.
I told you before I like Tom, so I'll steal from some of his stuff. One of the things he talked about was the fitting of facts to determine something in a jury summation. Fitting of facts. For the last 200 years, how many Muslims have gone out of their lands by fire and sword, to use the Latin term, or the Anglicized translation, to denigrate and subjugate a people? After 9/11, for the last 200 years and after 9/11 in particular, how many Muslims have been killed? How many have left the shores of the United States to proselytize, writing on bombs, say hello to Allah? How many civilians have been killed in Pakistan and in Afghanistan as collateral damage? Fitting of the facts. Religion of peace, religion of war. You be the judge. On obsession, since I feel bad we haven't focused on obsession as much as we ought to. In obsession, Walid Shoabat said jihad means struggle. It means more than that, obviously. And then he likens it to Mein Kampf. Linguistically, you cannot deny the man is right. If you are going to play semantics, for those of you who speak Hebrew here, find out what is the meaning of Yisrael. That's all.
Thank you.
Your homework.
Okay, thank you very much for having me here tonight. The only thing I could close with is to ask you to talk with your moms, get this kind of, Siraj Wahad will be the first one. Ask him to get this kind of stuff out of the mosque throughout the United States. Ask him to get these books, the 40 Hadith, out of the mosque in the United States. And I would ask organizations like CARE, if you really care about the Muslim people, stop defrauding the Muslim people. Because there are Muslims who have came forward and said that you do not care about the Muslim people. It is more of a PR image. And we have affidavits, and soon this is going to be going through the court systems. So anything I say here tonight on camera is something I'll also say in court. But again, if you saw the one picture that I had up there, my daughter who was 4 years old, and the two small young Iraqi children who are Muslim, I love the Muslim people, but I am very much afraid of many of your scholars.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just to add to Dave, Dave isn't a guy who flops around and goes to mosques. MappingSharia.us is a very sophisticated program, mostly of Muslims, teams of Muslims who go to the mosques. There's an algorithm that's been designed. There's 50 or 60 points that get entered into a computer database, and then a data comes out of that, and that's being collected for presentation in the next few months on a very, very, very public level. You'll see that. MappingSharia.us, an effort to start separating good from bad. But at the outset, one thing about arrogance. I've always been a very confident person, and I do a lot of work and a lot of preparation, and I'm very concerned about people. That confidence often is read as arrogance. My wife warns me all the time about that. So I apologize if it came across a little arrogant. It's confidence. And in this day and age, folks, we need a little bit of confidence in these difficult issues. What are you doing? He's grabbing my microphone, this guy. Come on. I asked at the beginning that we search for truth. I'll ask at the end, is there a problem in Islam in America? If you say yes, then you have to join with us to try to figure out a way to identify it and correct it. If there's a problem in Christianity, I'll join with you and try to fix that. But if you say no, you're lying to yourself, and to search for truth, you could never, ever, ever find it if you lied to yourself. Thank you very much for this evening. And I gave that guy a hard time. Let's give him a hand, too. Okay?
Now, one last comment that I omitted at my opening statement, and I have to apologize to Dr. Reverend Wayne Robinson. Brother, I call him Brother Wayne. I knew him for years, and this man standing before you here, he's the first man in Southwest Florida who tried to bring people of all faiths together, Muslims, Christians, Jews, and others. He does a great peaceful work. We respect him a lot, we love him a lot, and I hope we'll see him participating with us on the panel next time to hear his views. He is not biased for anybody. He's a very respected member of our community there, and we thank you so much for being here with us tonight, taking the time and practice. Thank you.
Most of all, thank you for your being here and your participation, and if there's anything left, please feel free to say it.
Dr. Khalid on camera for a couple of minutes interviews. Design the question if you want to. Okay, about the event. What do you feel? Did it achieve what you want?
Hey, Rich, you got the camera? Because you film the same thing. He's going to ask me a question. Dave, when you're done, you can come over.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, okay. Very simple question. I'm going to ask the same question of everybody. How do you think tonight went, and what is your overall objective with doing these kind of things?
Well, I was invited here to defend the film Obsession, and sadly we weren't able to show it, but everybody kind of knew what was going on with it. I thought it was an informative event, educational event, and we're going to start introducing information into the United States that shows that obsession is a bit obsolete, actually, and the situation is much worse than we thought 3 years ago. And that's what I see tonight as starting to kick off that process.
Dr. Robinson, same question?
I've got a priest in the morning, so I need to get on the road.
Okay, well, thank you. The same question I'm asking everybody. How do you think tonight went, and what do you hope to accomplish with these kind of things?
Well, I think anytime you have Muslims and Christians and Jews getting together talking about anything, it's good because we're so sequestered from everyone. And so in that sense, it was wonderful. I think we also were like ships passing in the night in terms of we already had our opinions many times and didn't hear what was being asked. But overall, the impact was extremely positive and important for the whole process of understanding each other.
Thank you. Let's get Dave, and then we'll get Dr. first.
Respect some of the Jews, the gentleman who spoke out about he doesn't understand.
Even the nuns, he's dressed like this who calls out the baby hundred.
Thank you. Here, I'll give you. That's the little boy tonight, right? We tried to help him for the hospital.
My best friend Kevin is in Marines, and he writes the name of their We're not encouraged to be
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem. Well, I'm just going to ask you the same question that I've asked everybody tonight.
Okay.
How do you think tonight went? And
Just wait, okay.
How do you think tonight went? And what do you hope to accomplish participating in this type of thing?
I think the night went really well. The objective is to open the dialogue, and where I would like it to go, from my standpoint, is that the Muslim people, just like the young sisters who came up just a minute ago, is we all We demand that the Islamic scholars get the violent material out of the mosque, and then I think we're going to have a much, much safer and a much better dialogue in America between the Muslim and the non-Muslim community.
Let me finish, please.
The unbelievers
Let me finish. Let me finish.
to you and
Let me
says-
finish, please. Let me finish. You raised a methodological question. Jesus did not speak of beating a wife because it was not a problem. Beat your damn wife. It's not a problem. Muhammad talks about it because it is a problem. We recognize it as a problem.
No,
So the
that's
people can beat your wife.
ridiculous. That is not
I'm asking you, does it
logical
make...
to make. Let
Is
me
it?
finish. You talk, let me address the beating of the wife. You think there was never a Jew that never beat his wife?
How about a
Come
Christian?
on.
How about a Christian?
You think there's not a Christian that
But
doesn't?
the problem is not
Don't
addressed.
people disobey?
But the problem is not addressed. There's no law about beating your wife. There's no law that says don't beat her.
No, there's the law. No, it's Jesus said to love her as Christ loved the church that gave his life for it. Yes. What does he say?
About the wife not raising her voice above that of her husband?
No, he didn't say that. He said the wives of the prophets should keep silent in the church.
No. That's not what he said.
Yes, he did.
No, he did not.
Want to make a bet?
I will certainly make a bet. And then after we make the bet, which Bible are you reading? Which translation are you reading?
Any translation. NIV, KJV, whatever you want.
Do you read
The
it?
Catholic
Then I will tell you what
Bible
Paul
even.
said. I shall suffer no woman to raise her voice above that of a man.
No.
Doesn't matter
in
where.
Church, in church.
It means that she's not capable of being one. So the man has to be the head.
Yes, the man has to
What
be.
does the Quran say about the man and the woman?
Pardon me?
What does the Quran say about the man and woman? Who is
The
equal or
Quran
not?
says that the woman has half the brains of the man.
Can you show me that? Can you show me that? Please show me. Please show me.
I don't know if I have.
No,
the
because it's
Hadith
not
say
there.
that. The Hadith say
You
that.
don't know the difference between Quran and Hadith. My problem is I know the difference.
He hasn't read the
That's the problem.
No, it isn't a problem.
Can I get you for just a second?
Sure.
Hate to
I
break
know
this
the
up.
Quran. I read it.
Nations that don't know anything about the Word of God and don't
Spoken
care.
like a true fanatic, man.
No, it
A fanatic always says the others don't know the
You
religion.
know what? You're doing ad hominem attacks. Let's stick to the facts, okay? When
That
you
is true.
start attacking a person by names, that is
When
not.
you start- when
that
you
is
make
not
an ad hominem,
logic.
the
You're
person's
not
not
being
there.
scholarly. You're not being scholarly.
Again, spoke
You're-
like a true fanatic. I know. I
You're
ask you
not
about the
being
language of the
scholarly.
Bible. You tell me you don't know it. You learn in translations.
What
Then you
about
tell
the
me.
thief, male or female? Cut off his or her hands. A retribution for their
Is
deeds.
that not fulfilling the law? Is that not fulfilling the law of the Hebrews?
No.
And Jesus was a Hebrew by the way, he was a Jew.
No. Jesus did not teach that. Remember
Jesus
when
was not
the
a Jew.
woman was going to be stoned for adultery?
Let him who's without sin
He
cast
said,
the
look,
first.
yes.
Did he
Yes.
prevent? What was he asking? Look at it logically. If you don't have it, don't do it. But they all had it, so they couldn't. Other than the law stood.
For the unbelievers are unto you open enemies. How could, this is the word of God. God made all
Why are these
people.
unbelievers? Why
He
are these
loves-
unbelievers enemies?
He
Why are they
loves
enemies?
all people. He
Why are they
loves all
enemies?
people.
Why are they enemies, man?
I'm afraid.
Why are they enemies? When they declare war against us? That's, oh, you don't? Shall I show you the verse in the Quran?
It is not fitting for a prophet that he should have prisoners of war until he had thoroughly subdued the land. He said they're to
That is what, that is in the Quran.
He,
That is in the
the
Quran. Why was that
prophet
verse?
is to, before he takes slaves,
Okay.
prisoners, he's to make a big slaughter. Jesus never said anything
No,
like
because
that.
Jesus came in that tradition, madam. Joshua, when he took the city of Hazor, what did he do? Jesus is Messiah to take the throne of Israel. What is the king of Israel supposed to do? Subdue everyone else. Read your book of Joshua.
No.
Read the book of Joshua. Oh, the book of
Joshua is the Old Testament. It is for the Jew.
But Jesus
It is
was
for
a
the
Jew, madam.
Yes,
Jesus was never a Christian. Christianity came after
I
Jesus.
thought you were raised
No,
as
it was out.
You say you were raised as a Christian? Yes. You don't seem to understand anything about Jesus.
And neither do you, sir. And neither do you, madam.
Oh, that's not
because
true.
you have a different Jesus. That's why people are still searching for this Jesus.
You may have been in the
And
Christian
everybody is
school, but
finding. Everybody
Everybody's finding Jesus, but nobody can trace the true Jesus. You got a Jesus. Jim Hagee has a Jesus. Pat Robertson has a Jesus. You got a Jesus.
You are being dramatic. You have to be factual. We
That's a good preacher that I learned in the church.
We cannot. No, you're being nasty.
I am being nasty because you came attacking. You came attacking and not wishing to understand. I get your simple
what
logic.
is this in here? Finally, I asked you, read the epistles and what Jesus said. That's all I challenged them. Find where he said, go cut off somebody's hand. Go kill someone or someone who turns away from the religion. Kill them.
See, Muslims don't explain away stuff.
No.
When Jesus says in Matthew, I am paid not to send peace, but the sword. And the Crusades did that. Oh, but
No, he said, he talked about it. There's a two-edged sword that separates the soul from the body. The soul
was imported into Christianity from Greek theology. The Hebrew Bible never used the word for soul.
Called the sword of God. You are very wrong.
You are wrong, madam, because I'm telling you about historical facts. The soul is never used.
We're talking about Catholics, exegesis.
Quiet, brother. The better
She talks about the details and there's one like that.
That's good for she read and she it's good.
Fight the unbelief.
Somebody
near to you.
Explain
Who
for
are
it.
near to you
This
and
is-
let them find harshness.
This is all subject together, not the
Madam.
only peace, only peace.
If
No.
people fight against us,
No.
we fight against them. That's all there is. Read the verse. If someone fights against you, you don't
somebody
fight back.
stay with you. And
But I lived with 40, they lived with me, 40 Muslims that spoke Arabic as their language. They were from Saudi Arabia, a few were from Kuwait, mostly from Saudi. Some were from UAE. And they
cannot
said
understand, cannot
they
explain
had
this.
very difficult time reading this. They said this was very formal Arabic. And they said, we have to kill them because they will,
They will run.
They will,
No.
But the problem is what Tom was talking about. Fit the facts. Who has been doing most of the killing? I gotta go take a photo.
What's your impression of the conversation?
Sorry, yeah, that's fine.
How do you think tonight went, and what do you hope to accomplish participating in talks like this?
Well, tonight went the same way that it always does. There's attack, and we're supposed to defend. It has never been an objective discussion. Muslims are always put under the gun, and the strategy I feel is when someone is a defendant, so to speak, when we're put in the position of defendant, anything goes. And so we constantly defend. And all I want is a neutral discussion. Let us talk about violence in the Quran. Let us talk about violence in Christianity. Where is it going to go? It will go nowhere unless there is objectivity. And I don't see that here.
And how do you think we can establish a framework for that sort of neutral discussion?
It has to be an academic discussion in the first place, by activists, by academics rather than by activists. Is there any lack of it? Certainly not. In the United States of America, there are so many interfaith organizations with scholars and activists working together. The government of Scotland has a specific department for interfaith. This is how, because even in Christianity, Judaism, Islam, whatever religion you think about, there is always talk about love and peace. You reach out to people through love and peace, not by attack and polemic.
So how do you think we can bring that scholarly discussion into the general discourse?
By having people who learn about something before they talk about it. Not by activists who are polemicists and look only for negative things in something. And I gave an example just now, when you were probably seeing me and not liking it, is when one gets under attack, you see how someone defends. I was attacking Christianity just now just to prove a point. Attack, 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 and they cannot defend. And this is the problem with happiness now. We cannot have attacks. One of the greatest professors of interfaith dialogue, Leonard Swidler from Temple University, Hans Kung, another professor, they talk about interfaith dialogue. It can only come about when there are positions of equality, not one assuming superiority and cultural hegemony and the other being put in an inferior position. Until then, it's always going to end up achieving nothing.
Let's go to a quiet area where you can hear it clearly, because a lot of background noise.
Just step over here so the microphone is facing the direction like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I just want to add a question. How did you get involved in the movie Obsession in the first place?
I got involved in the movie because I'm considered by many to be an objective Muslim. And some film producers came at the time, I did not remember their name, and they were very professional. They told me they're making a movie about radical Islam, and they would like to get my views on the Taliban. And so I gave an at-length interview describing Osama bin Laden and his people, etc.
What was your opinion of Osama bin Laden and the Taliban? I mean, would you consider Osama bin Laden a radical Islamist, and do you consider the Taliban government and the way they run an extreme form of Sharia law?
I consider Ibn Laden as one of the worst examples of humans that walk the face of the earth. I consider the Taliban as the worst examples of humanity that walk the face of the earth. So I don't consider them legitimate in any way. And I know you didn't ask the question. My problem is that the Taliban and Bin Laden were put into power, not by Muslims, but by non-Muslims.
Well, all right. I guess the question is when you look at today, do you see in the Muslim world, from your distinguished positions in San Diego, radical Islamic groups and radical Islamic nations, and can you name one or two of each?
Radical Islamic groups, certainly, not one or two, many Islamic groups. They all operate in the Middle East and in the Far Eastern, Southeast Asia. And I feel that's because of the politics of the region. Radical Islamic nations, I have a problem with the label because I think I can describe Iran as a radical Islamic nation. However, given the history of American involvement and British involvement in meddling in the affairs of Iran, I can see a lot of the reason. I don't justify it, but I see a lot of the reason for the harsh polemic that comes out of Iran.
And I understand that. However, understanding now how Iran runs, do you believe it is a free society in the sense of peaceful, really following the Quran, not the Hadith, but following the Quran, peaceful, wanting to be improving, not being aggressive? Are they in fact, are the Ayatollahs following the Quran, or are they following the Hadith?
I think the concept of an Islamic society that follows the Quran, and a lot of Muslims talk about it, I think it's frankly nonsense. There is no society that can survive following the law of the Quran. There is no society that can survive following the law of the Hadith. They're antiquated. The Quran can be followed in terms of its philosophy. The Bible can be followed in terms of its philosophy. Is Iran one of these places? No. Iran is a theocracy. Islamic government, and this is where I take part ways with my Muslim co-religionists, Islam does not promote a theocracy.
Ah, okay.
The Quran can be used as a philosophical guide. The same way the Bible might be used as a philosophical guide in the United States. Any Christian who talks about making the Bible the law of the land, any Muslim that talks about making the Quran the law of the land is a medievalist person whose society is doomed to failure, whether it be Iran, Saudi Arabia, whatever. So that's what I'll have to say on Iran.
Well, you've really hit to the heart of it. That really, and I guess the issue is the issue of the political Islam versus the Islam of the individual and the faith and the belief, and those two, when they get mixed, just like, and that's why, I guess that's, as an American, of course I grew up understanding, and that's why they came over here. That's why many of those that came here to settle were leaving a state-sponsored religion, and that state sponsorship led to very evil things.
Which is why a lot of Muslims are here, escaping the same problem.
Absolutely.
The problem is what they're finding is that when they come here now, instead of finding that haven and that refuge that the early Puritans found, they are not finding it. They're finding a new, and this is why I call it Reconstructionist, even though many Christians don't know the term. There is a resurgence of apocalyptic Christianity that sees the end of time coming, and that means battles and war.
Yeah.
So the Muslims are entering this hate, which it's problematic.
You are absolutely wonderful, sir, and you were brilliant tonight. And I know that you and Tom are good friends, and I know you will continue to be good friends.
Yes.
Although there may be some things you disagree with.
Oh, well, Tom knows that. We will disagree on certain things, but he's a good man.
Absolutely, and you're a good man. And that's that's what, it takes a few good men, as Margaret Mead said, a few good people, I won't say men, but a few good people to change, everything and anything. So as long as you continue to speak out, both you and Tom in your own way, hopefully that philosophy that idea will grow and grow and grow. Thank you, sir. Wonderful. Thank you, Jeff. And I love this man is brilliant. We need to get him. We need to share that tape. That was a brilliant. I think he captured it all right there. Dr. Muhammad captured it all.
Well, nice being here.
No. What we have to do, well, I think we're moving away from obsession to something else.
Well, not the third jihad, I hope, because I'm going to stand there. And, you don't want to hear it. I had a lot more comments on that movie. I just couldn't find the page. That's why I was stunned.
What's interesting is that I think,
and this is a little awkward.
I think Americans
setting, I know,
and Muslims are beginning to understand that there are interesting
it's common stuff, no big deal. I see you and Spencer going at it. What is that?
Let me ask you something.
And the camera.
Well, fine. No, we can. In the film, as God is my, I keep saying that. As God is my, I did not look at Obsession except for today for the few minutes which I saw in the thing, and I saw previously I had not looked at it. Does is Spencer's website referenced in the film?
His website?
Yeah.
Right now?
In the film, Obsession, is it or not? I don't know.
Is Spencer in the film? No.
No, his website is referenced.
No.
Okay, so I'm okay, because I thought maybe, because you have to give it if he has a point, because I was saying some of the backers might come against me, and then Spencer came in. And I'm saying, I didn't talk to Spencer. But anyway, he has a point. I think he has some points, but he makes, we have our issues going. But because
now,
Spencer,
where do you stand with Zuhdi Jasser?
I haven't seen Turkey. Zuhdi Jasser and I are friends. We probably have issues on interpretation, because with due respect to Zuhdi, I consider him a medical doctor. I'm a specialist in Islam, and we were together in Israel, etc. We have a nice relationship.
I take a lot of what I understand about
kill the Christians, kill the Jews, take over the world. Kill the Christians, kill the Jews, don't take over the world.
And I know it's
you need to get that book. You need to get that book out of the mind, and it needs to be the light of day needs to be shown.
He's trying to do it. He's trying
and say this is wrong.
I have a question, and this is not conceptual. Like we came in, there was guys